Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole, and it is my delight and honor to be with you today. I hope that you have been spending your time wisely, consciously, making decisions that will support how you want to live your life. Sometimes we get into the flow of doing things, but we aren't always connected to why we're doing them or what it means, or if we could do something differently when we are alone, making decisions that are good for ourselves, even if nobody's looking. Now, think about that for a minute. Do you ever fall off of your plan when nobody's looking? When, hey, you just need to step off for a minute. You have the choices that you've set up for yourself, for the way that you eat, for the way that you move your body, for the way that you engage folks that you love, for the way that you do your work, whatever it is that you have set intentions for how you're going to do things. And then when nobody's looking, do you ever fall off? Do you ever ignore things that are very important to you that are on your list? Because you can. I think that we would be dishonest if we said we never do that. I think that if we look very closely at ourselves and at our lives with scrutiny, with honest scrutiny, to say, okay, how do I manage my life when nobody's looking? And I think it's a good question, in part because we need to think about ourselves always being the ones looking. Are you looking at yourself and your life and checking to see if you're in alignment? Do you think you do that? As folks are joining, I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for making the time for us to be together in this way, when we can consider how we can inspire ourselves and our loved ones to take positive action. That's why I created this forum for us to contemplate different subjects that get to the core of who we are and how we think and how we act, how we live. Because if we are conscious of those things as regularly as possible, we stand the best chance of moving forward and uplifting ourselves and inspiring others to be uplifted as well. So I'm asking this question about, what do you do when nobody's looking? Seems like an odd question, right, for Dreamleapers, but it's not, because it's about being accountable to yourself and to what you have stated, what you've put out into the world that you want to do. It's about integrity. And I thought it would be really great to contemplate integrity today, now, as we look at our world and we look at the ways in which people behave, our leaders in particular. There's a lot of question about integrity, and is integrity leading people in their lives right now, leading our leaders, or is that kind of put on a back shelf, stashed away in the closet because politics is more important? Do you ever feel like that? Whenever I think about the political atmosphere, I try to step back and think about, how do we as individuals react to what's going on in the political world, and also what might we contribute to it, often unconsciously. And that brings me back to integrity. How often do you believe you stray from integrity in your daily life? Think about it. Are there times when you cut corners, when you say you're going to do something, you don't do it, and then you don't fess up? Do those things happen to you? I found two really good quotes that I want to share with you that I think are good for right now about integrity. So here's one from Oprah Winfrey. Here we go. Real integrity is doing the right thing, knowing that nobody's going to know whether you did it or not. Let me read that to you again. Real integrity is doing the right thing, knowing that nobody's going to know whether you did it or not. And think about that. That's when you are by yourself, when or you could be with others, wherever, but you make the choice to do what's right, whether people know you did it or not. Because it's not about checking off a box, about getting credit for doing the right thing. It's about living an honorable life and doing what you know is right, because that's how we're supposed to live. It's about making conscious choices that align with your values. Now, of course, that means that you've thought about what your values are, that you have contemplated your values and determined that these are the principles upon which you intend to live. Have you done that? Have you contemplated your values? What do I believe in? What do I think is important? These are really key questions, and parents kind of drill these things into their kids, or we hope so, continuing to inspire their children to think about how they behave and what choices they're making. I tell my daughter all the time, make smart choices. I don't just say that, but I talk about what smart choices are. And they're all based upon our values. And my husband and I teach her our shared values. So, what are your values? And if you are clear about them, or at least some of them, do you believe that you live your life in alignment with those values? Whether people are looking or not, whether anybody knows that you're doing it or not. Okay, here's the other quote, which I want us to unpack. And this one is from Charles H. Dyer. It says, conduct reveals character, and we best understand integrity when we see it lived out in a person's life. I'll read it again. Conduct reveals character, and we best understand integrity when we see it lived out in a person's life. So this is all about actions, how we behave, what we do, how we live our lives shows whether we are living in integrity or not. Are we doing what we say we're going to do? Are we living by our word? And to do that, sometimes it takes clearing out ways of thinking, changing our schedules, realigning our priorities. And I say that because very often we certainly intend to do what we believe is the right thing, but the day might end and we didn't get everything done that we said we were going to do. So let me give you a couple of examples of how that can end up looking like you don't have integrity. If you promise that you're going to do 5 things, whatever they may be, before the end of the week, I'll make it easy. 5 things before the end of the week. They could be personal, they could be family, they could be work, they could be health, they could be related to any of these areas, any area at all. But you commit that you're going to do these things. You commit to yourself and you commit to others. So if it's work, you're going to meet a deadline. If it's nutrition, you're going to choose healthy food. You're going to drink water, whatever it is. And you get busy and you forget to do something. You didn't write it down. You know how much I believe in lists. You didn't write it down, and then you forget that you even told yourself or somebody else you were going to do it. And then you get to the point, I said I was going to do that and I didn't do it. Your integrity gets chipped away every time you say you're going to do something and you don't follow up. And also, it affects your reputation. It affects people's ability to trust you. Because if you say you're going to do something, you don't do it. Why do I trust that you're going to do it the next time? Many people apologize, but then after their apology, they do the same thing. That's not living with integrity. That's living on an apology. And that only lasts but so long. So this notion of engaging integrity, living with integrity, is all about lining up your thoughts, words, and deeds and your agreements to do things, whatever they might be, and not filling your schedule so much with all kinds of stuff that you can't do it. Making the right pacing for your life so that you are able to function with grace and ease, at least a bit of ease, and check off those boxes and do the things you said you were going to do. That's when you can go to sleep at night, put your head on that pillow and feel at peace because you've done your best, and your best is in alignment with your word. And all we really have is our word. And so let me read you that Dyer quote again, because I really like it. Conduct reveals character. Conduct, the way you behave, what you do. Conduct reveals character. And we best understand integrity when we see it lived out in a person's life. Lived out in a person's life. My father had a poem that he loved, and he would recite it often. And I believe it's called The Sermons We See. And the chorus line, so to speak, is, I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. Show me through your actions who you are. Show me through the way you move through the world what you believe, what kind of person you are. Show me by the way you move in the world, by the way you interact with others. That's how integrity shows its face. And so I want all of us to recognize that we can make that choice to live our sermons, to live based upon the principles and values that we believe to be ours. It does take recognizing what those values are. So I want to ask you, I started this Dreamleapers inspiration group on Facebook. And if you haven't joined it, I hope you will. I see some of my sorors online with me. Hello, ladies. If you haven't joined the Dreamleapers Inspiration Facebook group, please join. And why don't you just share? You can share here too, but what would be a principal value that you believe you live by every day? What might it be? It could be anything. But what do you feel shows your alignment with integrity for you? I want us to think about this, because in order to do it, you have to understand what you believe. Otherwise, it's just, yeah, I'm going to do it. Of course I do that. Of course I do that. But the of course is only able to be enacted when you're conscious of your thoughts, words, and deeds, when you choose to be in alignment with what you understand to be right action. And that's when you can show that sermon, when you can be the one who's living an honorable life, right? So what do you believe? What are your values? What do you care about? During all this time that we've been quarantined, what has shown itself to be the most important to you? I think for many people, myself included, family has been so important. Tending to family, talking to family, connecting with family, making sure people are okay, just being in communication with family. And then we talked about this at the early time of COVID. making sure that we have those circles of loved ones that we stay in touch with, especially elders, anybody we know to have illness, and the people that we love. Even if we haven't talked to them a long time, now is a perfect time to check in on people. For me, part of integrity is being in connection with my family and the people that I love and not being too busy to connect with them. Is that important to you? Have you found that to be even more important during COVID? Many people have. What are your values? What matters to you? What do you care about the most? What do you want to align yourself with the most? Think about that and write it down. Go to the Dreamleapers Inspiration Facebook group. Join if you haven't joined already. And let's talk about it. What are our values? What shows that we are living with integrity? And what can you do if you need to refresh that? My belief is the refresh starts with literally writing down what you believe. There's something about the act of writing something down that is claiming it. So you write it down, you tell yourself, this is what I value the most. This is what I believe that I want for my life. And then this is how I intend to get there. Then you line up your thoughts, your intentions, and your steps. You have to have the thoughts and intentions clear before you take action. If you're just walking down the road and you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up somewhere you don't want to be, right? Plan it out. Acknowledge what is important to you. Write it down. So join me on the Dreamleapers Inspiration Facebook group and let's talk about it some more. So good to be with you. Always wonderful. I hope you have a wonderful day. Have a great day and make it count, you guys. Namaste.